back with the final case of the game.
And I'm awake.
Yes, left on a cliffhanger we were, but now we're going to start our investigation and I guess get Athena out of her Maya-like predicament since she's being accused of stuff.
She's on the lighter that was seen.
Yeah, the lighter that was apparently seen by the by two people, and a lot of unanswered questions. So here we go. No one can escape their past. The sins we've committed and the sadness we've caused.
That's right.
No matter how far we run, our past remains as ever present as the moon in the sky.
It's a grand secret, but it's not.
Nope. It is Apollo. We saw a little bit of that in the first case. It looms in wait. The day when we are forced to face it. And only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on and hope towards tomorrow. Ooh, close to Christmas. They took Athena from the courtroom, straight to the station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. After this past year, I took it for granted that these two would always be here. But now Apollo has gone off on his own to seek his own truth. And my pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be. It's even quieter in here than usual. Yeah, it seems so empty, too. I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid. Yeah, and I still believe it was, at least based on what we know. But now Athena's the one who's being accused. During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center, the lighter used by the real culprit was found. This lighter proved the defendant Solomon Starbuck innocent. But Athena's prints were found on it instead, and she was subsequently arrested for the murder. But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense. No, none of it does. I've been racking my brain, but I can't figure it out. Alright, where's the flaw in my reasoning? What if I got wrong in this case? You know, Daddy, if Athena was here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking, she'd be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy? Of course I will. And thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. Trucy's right. The trial is tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm going to prove Athena's innocent, I'd better get out there and find some evidence. Off we go, then. We're on a hunt for evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence. Great, but before we go, I'd better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. Athena's probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Trucy's right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the Space Center. Well, we know what to do. So let's go to the Space Center. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute? Galactic Scooter, full speed ahead. Director, he scooted away. His expression changed the instant he saw you, Daddy. Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud pretty good at the trial earlier today. We were here only yesterday. Oh, hey. Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yep, and I came straight here. This is all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. You've given me a second chance to fly into space again. Can't thank you enough. Except... What's wrong? I thought he'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Sykes. He saw Athena? I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. And then you know what? She flashed a peace sign at me. Congratulations on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, that sounds like Athena. I can just picture it. But I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's got to be suffering. She must be so worried. And yet she went out of her way to be nice and give me that big smile. She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena. There's no question about it. That girl is innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. And then they can put me in prison instead. I don't mind. We can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. Don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm going to give her the very best defense I can. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be all right with you in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Paolo has a fine boss to look up to. All right, about the murder. I still can't believe Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. What could have made Director Cosmos do such a thing? I haven't the foggiest idea. So there never was going to be a launch that day, not from the very beginning. I wonder if Clay knew. I imagine he must have. Surely he would have noticed when you went to board the rocket. It's pathetic to think I was the only one who got taken in. But I guess that's about how it goes, when you're worth less than space debris. Is he going to be alright, Daddy? His expression looks as dark as a black hole. Well, that's just how he is. Mr. Starbuck, do you remember anything about the murderer? Not really, I only saw a shadowy figure in the dark after all. Yeah, I guess that was a little too much to hope for. Hey, I heard something from the police, though. They said they never did find a 10 caliber gun down that trash chute. Just as I thought, the culprit must have carried it away with them when they escaped. So was the person you saw holding a gun, Mr. Starbuck? I couldn't really tell. But it wasn't Athena, right? Could you tell if the person was male or female, tall or short? I can't even tell you that much. Man, I'm useless. When the culprit opened the door and some light came in, I should have been able to see. The door, yes. As I recall, they opened this door here as they made their escape. The door to Launchpad 1, right? Yeah, except right now the door leads to the Space Museum. You mean the Launchpad and the Space Museum are switched right now? Yeah, they're trying to investigate the theory you came up with in court. So they're recreating the conditions, huh? I'd like to see what's beyond that door now. Mr. Starbuck, could you open this door for us? Sure. Just let me have my print scan here. The launch pads get switched back and forth a lot. Well, back when the Space Museum was Launchpad 2, they used to switch the pads around at times. But these days, Launchpad 2 is only used as a tourist attraction, right? Right, because quite frankly, the Space Center needs the money. I hear you. Times sure are tough. Daddy, let's go check out what's behind that door. Sure, let's go. Hey, why don't I come along? I can show you around.
What is that?
A leaf? I wonder what these dead leaves are doing here. Maybe they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes. There are lots of trees around the Space Center. She's right, it's a modern state-of-the-art building, but it's surrounded by trees. But I don't know. They were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoe. Wouldn't they look more crushed up? These don't look like they've been stepped on. Maybe there's some kind of secret hatch in the corridor, and they came in that way. Not everything is set up like a magician stage, you know. So this is another one of those devices for opening the door, huh? Yep, but this one doesn't require fingerprint verification. You just hit the button and open sesame. So when you and Clay went through here, you didn't need to show your prints either? That's right, Trucy, just like how the culprit didn't need to scan their prints. When they escaped back out the Space Museum corridor into Boarding Lounge 2. Well, I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. I imagine this corridor is built exactly like the Launchpad 1 corridor. Do you know anything about this piece of evidence? No, sorry, I'm so useless. I wonder if there's anything else. And the lighter. Maybe something about the Earth emblem? Maybe something about the capsule? The pamphlet? How about the security cam video? Yeah. Yeah, he don't know nothing. Oh, Clay always used to cheerfully greet me in a loud voice. And he did vocal exercises every morning, sometimes until he was hoarse, right? The autopsy. Exactly, you could always hear him even through the wall. Hey, wait a minute. Did you know Clay? No, but like attracts like, as they say. Back to the entrance. Curse the wretch who sullied my good name. Reverse course and full speed away. Director Cosmos, wait. I'll handle this, Daddy. Take that. Yeah! The mobility system has been compromised! Jushi's knife, though, was a direct hit to one of his tires. And the streak continues. Maybe I should have kept a closer watch on what trick she's been practicing. My dear old battleship, we fought many a skirmish together. It has been an honor. Daddy, he's going to blow that thing up. Nah, I bet all that button will do is make it go haywire again. Very well, I surrender. As a prisoner of war, I expect to be treated honorably. Director Cosmos, when you were talking in court about switching the launch pads, you used your right to remain silent about the reason as to why. But I don't have any secrets left. Now that my battleship has been destroyed and I've been taken prisoner.
Oh boy.
No secrets left, huh? I beg to differ. Looks like I'll have to undo his psych blocks if I want to get to the bottom of this. Alright, let's see if we have enough.
Take that!
I want you to tell me everything you're hiding about the switching of the two launch pads. I refuse. You can't make me. I can hold like this when I'm old. Now let's see, where to start.
Oh my god.
Work-related?
Yes.
Okay. All right, bit of a thing there. All right, so where to start?
Say a customer.
No,
Okay.
this is how you explain your motive for switching launch pads. You did it to save the astronauts. Thanks to you switching the launch pads, the astronauts escaped injury from the blast. Instead, they safely boarded the museum's rocket, far away from the actual explosion. My astronauts were raring to go out on an authentic adventure in space. How do you propose I had them board a fake rocket without them noticing? I agree you couldn't have done it without help. For one, they would have figured out the instant they stepped into the space museum. You figured you could fool Mr. Starbucks once he'd been drugged with his medication, but without the help of this person, it would have been impossible to pull your plan off.
Is it Laura?
Clay, I think, right?
Okay.
Because he's the second person.
Take that! No.
Right. You must have gotten Mr. Terran to help you. He stole the tranquilizers from his mentor's locker and slipped them to him. And then with Mr. Starbuck in a daze, they boarded the replica rocket in the museum. Someone please help this poor prisoner of war! How was he able to spin around like that?
It's too quick.
He was able to do it after his tire was destroyed by Trucy. If you really wanted to save the astronauts' lives, shouldn't you have just called off the launch? If I could have done that, do you think I would have gone to all that trouble? I guess he must have had a compelling reason why he couldn't call it off. But how did you know to switch the pads in advance of the bombing incident? Well, that's because, I was warned in advance. Once I received that warning, it was my duty to ensure my astronauts' safety. But it was just a warning, it could have even been a prank. Why did you believe in it so completely? Because I went to one of those mediums that everyone's talking about these days. Oh, I didn't realize channeling was back in vogue. Besides, I thought it was you yourself that got the warning via telephone. Yes, that's right. The bomber contacted me personally. My battleship is equipped with a special advanced communication system, you see. AKA a regular old telephone. It's been a while. Planning another launch? I see you haven't learned. I'll never forget the terror I felt when I received that call. The bomber said it's been a while. And that was enough to make you take the threat seriously. Perhaps Director Cosmos took the threat so seriously because the Space Center had been involved in a bombing once before. Maybe. The culprit in the current case is the same person who was involved in this incident.
That one? Wasn't there a bombing at that one, too?
Yeah, it was some kind of miracle there, yeah, and the Hat 2 bombing was what just happened. The Hat 1 miracle, that epic story of survival. People across the nation know it now as a heroic tale of bravery. But in truth, it was an act of sabotage perpetrated by our current killer, wasn't it? Very few knew about the previous plot, so when the killer said it's been a while, you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the danger was real and it wasn't a prank. God, didn't anyone ever tell you to go easy on an ex-serviceman? Yes, the Hat 1 miracle was really a desperate battle against an act of sabotage. I even lost the life of one of my staff members in the fight. Sabotage, murder, so this is the ugly truth behind the Hat 1 miracle. I let my guard down. I thought the saboteur had been caught and that the case was closed. Oh, wait a minute. The murder at the Space Center 7 years ago. This must be the person Director Cosmos thought was the culprit. I forgot the details of that. Yep. Convicted of the murder.
Take that!
Simon Blackwell, the murder suspect in a case that happened here 7 years ago. The place and time of the two incidents, the murder and the sabotage, were the same. So you thought that he committed both crimes. But while Prosecutor Blackwell was behind bars, you got another threatening call. If the culprit this time is the same as 7 years ago, then it isn't Simon Blackwell. Realizing that, you were shaken, and meant the true culprit's been running free all this time. How do you keep seeing straight through me? Okay, well this explains some stuff. The reason why Director Cosmos won't talk about why he switched the launch pads is connected to the truth behind the Hat One miracle, the sabotage and murder that happened at this space center 7 years ago. Director Cosmos, tell us what you're hiding. If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads, we'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago. 7 years ago, you mean the so-called Hat One miracle. The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, then the troubles began. It was all the handiwork of a certain person and their evil scheme. So Mr. Starbuck's traumatic experience wasn't accidental. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered. Wow, I had no idea such awful events were behind that exciting story of space heroism. All that in spite of the Space Center having very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. You couldn't even smuggle a withered old leaf through those checkpoints.
That's an interesting statement. Because we just got a withered leaf.
That's true, yeah. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. A spy? You mean somebody who infiltrates a foreign country? Carries out dangerous missions and always gets the girl? Someone's watching way too many late-night movies. Well, I guess if we're talking about blowing up a rocket and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising that a spy could be behind it all. Make no mistake, there's cutthroat rivalry between nations in the space R&D race. Some try to outdo others by any means possible, even deliberate obstruction. 7 years ago, we got a call before the launch warning us of sabotage. The same MO as this time. Yes, and here I thought the perpetrator had been caught, but it looks like I was wrong. Prosecutor Blackwell seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think? Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing? Similarities, but I wouldn't say they're basically the same. But there's a good reason we failed to find the real spy. A massive cover-up by the government. Government officials were too embarrassed to admit that they had allowed such a thing to happen at the hands of a spy. What if it's that woman who was a spy from The Great Ace Attorney? The blonde.
The one that...
Is an assassin?
Her name was weird and she had the goose on her head, or the...
Yes, yes. Don't tell me they made the police rush the investigation. They did indeed, and then to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story. And that was the Hat One miracle, wasn't it? But then 7 years later, the same MO, advance warning of sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching the launch pads. Well, it seems like this guy's actually a decent dude, but I wonder what he's hiding that made the other Blackwell say that he lies and makes up stuff. Well, I mean, he did make up stuff, but... 7 years ago, the spy gave you advance warning of their plans, just like this time. That was what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it? That's right, the caller knew the facts of the case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They knew about the sabotage, the moon rock, the murder, and they said, "You don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you?" I immediately thought of calling off the launch, but the government wouldn't let me. We don't give in to the likes of terrorists. We must proceed for our country's honor. It was quite a moving speech, actually. Moving? Really? Maybe if you're easily inspired by political talking points. But I knew the truth. We had been warned, which meant that the danger was very real. And I knew there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way. That's why I switched the launch pad and staged the moving rescue scene. First, I snuck into the center the night before and switched the launch pads. That way, the astronauts would go from boarding lounge 1 to the Space Museum. Then I put a closed for repairs sign at the door to launch pad 1 and boarding lounge 2. You do that so normal visitors wouldn't enter, right? What else did you do? I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Taryn, but you didn't let Mr. Starbuck in on it. He already had been through enough, so he's no good at lying to keep a secret. I'm afraid I had no choice but to have him drugged. My plan went well until... Clay's murder, huh? After the culprit made their escape, I switched the launch pads back. I did it in such a way that no one would find out, but after all that effort, Terran is dead and the Hat 2 was destroyed. And the Hope capsule, which had returned to us only recently, was also lost in that blast. My home, the center of the cosmos, my beautiful Cosmos Space Center is done for. Wait, what did he mean by the Hope capsule was lost in that blast? I thought that the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Terran. It had just been brought back by the Hope space probe with asteroid samples inside. The capsule was being held in a safe in Launchpad 1, but I gave it to Terran before the incident so it wouldn't be destroyed in the explosion. The idea was that with it safely in Terran's possession, he'd make it look like he rescued it during the staged miraculous escape. But our precious research materials ended up lost in that explosion anyway. But I thought Clay was supposed to keep it safe. You misunderstand. The launchpad explosion wasn't the one the capsule was lost to. It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence. It was the courtroom bombing from the other day. The capsule was there in the courtroom as evidence and was blown to smithereens. Yet another casualty of that blast. Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching of the launch pads. What? How? The police found a wiretapping device during their investigation today. A bug aboard my battleship, a tap on my advanced communication system. A wire on that phone? Yes, a wire on this very phone. I used this phone to give instructions to my staff about the launchpad switch. Just to the few select members who knew about the plan. Just before the incident, staff members were coming in and out of Launchpad 1. The culprit probably slipped in with them amid the confusion, and planted the bomb then. Yes, if they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull something like that off. So you really think the same spy is behind this incident in the one 7 years ago? Yes, I'm sure of it. Then this spy must be the phantom Prosecutor Blackwell has been chasing. But Prosecutor Blackwell told me once. The hunt I've been on for the Phantom of 7 years past continues even still. For starters, that case happened in the Space Center too, yes. So if we can find this Phantom, that's right, we can clear Athena's name. And then there's the matter of Prosecutor Blackwell too. What about him? Well, if the culprit of 7 years ago is the same person as in the current incident, it would mean Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent. That's still an if, though. I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without handcuffs. But if we're going on a ghost hunt, count me in. Hee 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 ha ha ha. It's all over for me. Spin, spin, whirl, whirl, I'm done for. The center of the cosmos is doomed. Do you think he's going to be alright, Daddy? Well, at least he'll be in good company. There must be planets out there he can spin with. Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper in that Hat 1 mission, too. If you want to learn more, start with the Space Museum. There's a Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me, I'll just keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfolds. It's like he achieved spiritual enlightenment or something. I'm sure he'll stop when he gets dizzy. Let's go visit the Space Museum. How is he not dizzy yet? Let's see, where's the exhibit on the launch 7 years ago? There, that's the Hat 1 exhibit. Oh wow, look at that photo of the team. There's Clay and Mr. Starbuck, Director Cosmos, or Blackwell, and even Ponko. But I've never seen the woman on the right before. Everybody looks so happy. Well, except for Director Cosmos. Let's check out the newspaper article, too. Hat 1 launch imminent, and there's a photo of the Hope space probe. I guess it's only natural it doesn't talk about the murder or the sabotage. They really were keeping it a secret, just like the director said. Daddy, take a look at the jacket. It must be the Hat 1 team's uniform jacket. It's the same design as the one Apollo was wearing, the one that belonged to Clay. Actual jacket worn by a Hat 1 team member, it says. Not a replica, huh? I wonder if it was Mr. Starbucks. Hello?
What is she doing?
Oh, Ms. Woods, what brings you here? I heard Thena got arrested, so I've been looking for you, Mr. Wright. I thought you might be here at the scene. And you must be so worried, but rest assured, I'm going to do my very best to defend her. Thena's going through such a hard time. I hope she doesn't lose heart. Even just coming back to this place must have been really difficult for her. Huh, you mean the Cosmos Space Center? What, you didn't know? She used to live here when she was a little girl. She did? No, I didn't know. No wonder she knew so much. Miss Woods, could you tell me more in detail? Thena's mom worked here. If I remember right, she was a doctor of psychology or something like that. But why was the psychology specialist working at a space research facility? I don't really know. But I do know that she lived and worked here, so Athena lived here too. So it was far from Athena's first time here. I wonder why she didn't mention it. She probably didn't want to talk about it. This place is connected to a very sad memory for her. A sad memory? Can you tell me about it? There was a terrible incident here. It was 7 years ago. Same time frame as the Hat 1 launch. Athena's mom in the robotics lab. She was murdered. What? After it happened, Athena stopped coming to school. Poor Athena, and all this time she never let on at all. I was so worried about her. I came here so many times hoping to see her. But I never saw her again. After a while, we started exchanging letters, but I didn't get to see her face to face for 7 long years. So the first time you'd seen her in 7 years was during Professor Court's case. That's right, and I was so surprised. She was like a completely different person, so cheerful and happy. What was Athena like as a child? She was very sensitive and kind. She didn't talk very much. She liked to draw and paint at home. That's completely different from the Athena we know now. I can't even picture it. She never left the Space Center much because she was very sensitive to other people's emotions. When she went to crowded places, she'd get dizzy from all the emotions flying around. It must be hard to hear people's hearts as well as their voices. She always wore those big, heavy-looking headphones. She said her mother made them for her as part of her research. I wonder what kind of research it was. Because of her special ability, Athena couldn't handle being in school very often. And I was always out sick because of my weak constitution. Maybe that's why we became such good friends. We used to play together here at the Space Center a lot. It brings back memories. Sounds like Athena's mother played a big role here at the Space Center. Ooh, Daddy, show her that picture. Atta girl, good idea. Oh, present. Miss Woods, could you take a look at this for me? Oh, look, there's Thena's mom. The woman on the far right, the one in the kimono. That's Dr. Metapsychs. Wait, Metapsychs?
Yeah, like, I think it, like, metaphysical metapsychs, I don't know. I think it's supposed to be something.
Okay, because Athena isn't really anything, but Athena's mother's murder. Did it by any chance have any connection to the Hat 1 launch? What? Why, yes it did. As I recall, it happened on the day before the launch. Just as I suspected. So this is the murder Director Cosmos was talking about. Does that mean that the crime Prosecutor Blackwell was convicted of It's the murder of Athena's mother, and that's why Athena hates Blackwell. There's a chance her death is somehow connected to the current case. There is? Thank you for all your help, Miss Woods, and please try not to worry. I won't let anything happen to Athena. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I know you'll take good care of her. So we need to investigate the robotics lab and also talk to Athena. We've got our plates full, Daddy. I hope we can fit it all in before the day is through. The detention center first, then. We have to see Athena before visiting hours are over. Well, if it isn't Mr. Lawyer, fancy meeting you here. Oh, hello, Detective Fulbright, here on business. To tell the truth, I'm here to interview Tetanate, the one behind the courtroom bombing incident. He suddenly said he's ready to tell the truth about that case. And what he was saying was so incredible, I just had to come right over to hear more. Incredible, what was he saying? Why don't you hang around and hear it for yourself? Really? Us? Are you sure? Ha ha ha, I gave you my special permission. Here comes the bomber now. You, what nerve you have to come here? You're here to laugh at me, I suppose. Like I'd waste my breath on you. After all, you're the one who assaulted Apollo and put him in the hospital. Violence, no. Question, okay. No violence? Too bad Apollo didn't get a chance to say that before you attacked him. Fine. Then just answer me this, Mr. Tenate. What is this truth of yours about the courtroom you blew up? No, I didn't do it. I didn't blow up the courtroom. When I killed Detective Army, there was another person in the room. What are you talking about? Who else could have been there? I saw it, I tell you. I saw someone's hand as they were stealing the remote switch. This person was there and witnessed the murder I committed. What? I don't know who it was. But that's who blew up the courtroom. You expect us to buy that?
Well, she was hit over the head. That was her actual cause of death, wasn't it? Not from the explosion.
Right.
We thought the explosion was meant to mask what happened to her.
Right. Easy there, Trucy. I don't see any Cyclops, so I guess he must not be lying. This is kind of nuts. I thought he might be the actual killer.
Well, he did kill Danny's army, but...
Yeah, for reasons we don't really... Pardon me, I got a little carried away, but I'm telling you the truth. I'm awesome-o. I did not detonate that bomb. And there you have it. We can't exactly ignore his claims, of course, so we're doing a follow-up. We're even analyzing the bomb itself or what's left of it. We haven't found any new facts yet, though. Wow, they've laid it all out piece by piece. Oh, look at all those beautiful little pieces. I wish I could have them. Uh-oh, looks like his geek switch has been activated. Well, I hope you're ready for Prosecutor Blackwell's special brand of questioning. Anything but that. I'm afraid I have to be off now, too. I was just about to question Miss Sykes. You're going to see Athena now? That's right. Oh, did you folks come to see her? Sorry for the trouble, but could you come back later? Well, off I go. What bad timing. Looks like we'll have to wait until after her questioning is over to see her. And after we came all this way, too. Well, I guess it's back to the Space Center. Let's go check out the robotics lab, Daddy. All right, sounds like a plan. Oh, we haven't been to the robotics lab. So this is the robotics lab, huh? Looks like it's exactly one floor above the boarding lounge. And where people were directed to evacuate from via the emergency ladder. This is where Athena's mother was killed 7 years ago. Speaking of someone who works with robots. Daddy, look over there. Oh, it must be Miss Blackwell? No! So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right? Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about the case and have a nice cup of tea instead? Apollo and Aura Blackwell, I wonder what they're talking about. Well, come to spoil our fun just when I was enjoying our alone time. Trucy, and Mr. Wright. If it's Apollo you want, you can't have him. He said he's investigating on his own. and I respect his wishes. We just came to investigate this lab. Well, this is my lab, so you'll need my permission if you want to do any snooping. I heard about the trial. You made mincemeat out of the director, and suddenly Starbuck was out and your little subordinate, the princess, was in. Case closed, and they all lived happily ever after. Ha ha ha. Daddy, say something to her. And I suppose you're going to defend the princess in court, am I right? Princess, huh? Guess she's talking about Athena. Of course, Athena is innocent. Oh my, such loyalty and trust. She seems pretty suspicious to me, though. The emotionally unstable princess. There's your culprit for you. Don't you agree, Apollo? I don't know yet. Apollo, how could you? What's wrong with saying I don't know if it's true? It's a very scientific approach. Your subordinate is more level-headed than you. Or should I say former subordinate? Ha ha ha! Ha 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 ha! I can't believe it. Does Apollo really suspect Athena? Phew! All this laughing has worn me out. Your turn to say something, hunk of junk. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sickbay? Mr. Terran, but that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost.
It's the jacket.
Yeah, it's the jacket. Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran? Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran? I guess Clay intends to hang around to haunt the princess that murdered him. Oh, and to haunt the lawyer that defends her too, of course. A robot that can see ghosts? Yeah, right, and I'm a spirit medium. Sorry, but apparently scientists just don't tell very frightening ghost stories. I intend to defend Athena no matter what you have to say about it. How perfectly foolish. That kind of blind belief makes people lose sight of the truth. Just like 7 years ago. Could you tell me about the incident 7 years ago? Why? Do you enjoy trampling on people's feelings and rubbing salt in their wounds? Or do you just want me to talk? In that case, what should I ask for in return? I'd like to hear about that incident too. It helped me understand the current case better. Huh? Apollo knew about that case too. Well, if you're the one who's asking Apollo, come on, hunk of junk, you tell the story. But Miss Aura, that's private information. Tisk, if you won't talk, I'll just have to make you talk. Ah, yes, who cares about personal privacy? Not me! I am ready to utilize my blast processing abilities to impart all available information. Wow, what a magic trick! He's like a completely different robot now. The bodies of all the robots that come through this lab are designed by Miss Aura. I was born 7 years ago. Miss Aura was much, much younger then. Yikes, better watch what you say if you don't want to get recycled, Conco. And then our hearts were created by that great genius, Dr. Metis Sykes. Hearts? Robots with hearts? Can you even make such a thing? Emotions are not irrational things. Our logic and our hearts can be integrated. The two navigation companions created by Miss Aura and Dr. Metis transcend humans. Gah! Metis. Huh? She just glanced over at her desk. Nobody could continue Metis' research. She and her work were truly one of a kind. And now the two navigation companions are all that are left of Metis here on Earth. The robots are all that's left. Isn't she leaving out a very important someone? She built the ultimate creations together, but now she's gone. I get the feeling Dr. Sykes loved her robot and almost as much as she loved you. Ha 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 ha. What are you talking about? Don't make me laugh. But you lost someone too, didn't you, Apollo? Your friend Clay. I guess you and I are pretty much in the same boat. Miss Aura, would you like a tissue? Keep your trap shut, hunk of junk. Plonka was an important keepsake of your time with Dr. Syke. You should treat him better. What does it matter? He doesn't feel pain, and I can always repair his body. Besides, their hearts aren't actually in their bodies. What do you mean by that? program Metis wrote runs on a separate mainframe. Their bodies are controlled remotely from there. Their hearts and memories are there too. These bodies are really just peripherals. So I can do anything I want to them. I'm not so sure that gives you the right to physically abuse the poor things. But why are you people looking into such an old case now anyway? Well, we believe the culprit of that incident might be the same person as in this case. So Daddy's going to find out who killed Dr. Sykes too. I'm sure you're aware of who Metis' killer is. Yes, Prosecutor Blackwell, or so it seems. That's a quaint way of putting it. Are you implying you don't think you did it? I can't say anything for sure right now. That's exactly why I'd like to hear your side of it, to help me be sure. I was the one who introduced Simon to Metis, you know. He wanted to learn psychology, he said, to give himself an edge in court. Prosecutor Blackwell's forte, his infamous power of suggestion technique. Exactly, and he was oddly serious about it. Rather than a teacher-student relationship, he treated her more like how a loyal samurai would treat his sovereign. He seems more like a lost soul than a dignified samurai to me. He even got along well with that miserable little princess. Why do you call Athena the princess anyway? Well, she is Metis' daughter after all, although she's nothing like her. Besides, doesn't the selfish little princess always have lots of white knights hanging around? Now I think I see why Athena didn't say anything when we ran into Hora yesterday. It all makes sense now. So the culprit behind the two cases could be the same, huh? That settles it then. What does it settle? None of your business. Just forget you heard anything. How long are you people going to hang around in here anyway? What? But we came here to take a look around. You think you can just waltz in and ransack a person's lab? Show me a search warrant. Oh, she's never done that yet. We're not the police, so we don't have one. Then get out now. Klonko, show them out. Certainly, Miss Aura. Ouch, don't push. My apologies, I'm just following orders. What a way to get shown out. The nerve of that woman. What's with that horrible attitude? I guess that's just how she is. And why was Apollo going along with her? I guess it's because they have something in common. Apollo lost Clay, just like how Aura lost Dr. Sykes. I'm really worried about him. He's not himself at all. He's usually not all cool and dark and mysterious like that. I guess that's true. Does she mean he's usually silly and dorky? I'm going to go keep an eye on him. Hey, wait, Trucy, come back. She's... Well, here I am. This office has never felt so empty. I guess I haven't been here at the office all by myself in a long time. When I first became a lawyer, my mentor was here with me. And then for a while after that, she was always by my side. Now I'm getting all sentimental. I must be tired. Huh? There's something on the floor. What's the letter doing here? Hey, Nick, it's been a while, huh? Miss me? I know that handwriting. I read somewhere that you were holding a trial in the middle of an exploding courtroom. That must have really been something, although weird is par for the course with you. I think she, or whatever paper she's reading, is a little off on the details. I'd love to come visit, but I'm right in the middle of a difficult part of my training. So instead, think of me as you watch those Steel Samurai videos I sent. I'm sure they'll cheer you right up. Yours truly, Maya Fey. Good old Maya. It's as if she knew I was feeling down and needed a lift. Maya was my assistant for quite a while. Believe it or not, she's a spirit medium. This Magatama I use in Cyclops, Maya's the one who gave it to me. But I wonder how this letter got here. Mr. Nick? Eek! Oh, it's you, Pearls. How have you been, Mr. Nick? This is Pearl Fey, though I call her Pearls. She's Maya's cousin, who is also a spirit medium. A very talented one at that. I've known her since she was 8 years old. But Apollo and Athena only met her a few months ago. didn't come all this way just to bring me a letter, did you? I apologized for barging in. The door was unlocked. But I can't believe there was a big explosion here. Your office doesn't look any different. She's even further off on the details than Maya. I wish I could take you out to eat or something, Pearls, but there's a lot going on. Oh, I knew that. I didn't come here for a social visit, you know, Mr. Mick. Did you read the postscript on the letter? Huh? There's more? Oh yeah, here it is. P.S. I bet you've been too busy to clean or take care of the office, so Pearlie said she would come help you. Isn't she sweet? You'd better thank her. Oh, so that's what you're doing here. That's awfully nice of you, Pearls. Maya and Pearls. Thanks to these two, I'm starting to feel a little better. Thank you, girls. Now that I'm here, I'm going to whip this place into shape. You just concentrate on your work and don't mind me at all. I'll need to talk to Prosecutor Blackwell if I want to learn more about this case. His case. With the trial still going on, they must be holding him down at the detention center. Alright. Well, look who's here. I wonder what they're talking about. All this time you haven't said a word. It's even turning your hair gray. I don't have anything to say, Aura. Why don't you go home and play with your dolls? Prosecutor Blackwell. Well, even if you don't, I have plenty, you jerk. Miss Blackwell, don't you think that's enough for today? Enough for today? Today is all there is when there's no tomorrow. There's no tomorrow? What's she talking about? We have company, Aura. Please try to calm down. Alright, fine. I see you're not going to listen, no matter what I say. I've had it. If that's the way you're going to be, I have another plan up my sleeve. I hope you're happy, Simon, because I'm done. Do as you please, and see if I care. Ugh. Wow, I could cut the tension with a katana. Right, Dono. It looks like Fulbright saved your case in court this morning. What? Oh yeah, he did. You bounced back to business quick. Prosecutor Black will forgive me, but it was the just thing to do. But as a result, Sykes Dono was arrested. Was that the just thing to do too? Mr. Lawyer, I'm sorry, but it was evidence. What else could I do? Don't worry about it. I plan to defend her and prove her innocence. I wouldn't take things so lightly if I were you, right, Dono? This is blade-proof glass, right? Prosecutor Blackwell, we're looking into the case from 7 years ago. You're looking for somebody you call the Phantom of 7 Years Past, aren't you? You villain! Where did you hear about that? This glass is absolutely, positively blade-proof, right? No, it wasn't me. I didn't say a single Oops. Ouch, at least it wasn't my fault. Could you tell me who this Phantom is? And also, you didn't really kill Dr. Sykes, did you? Guard, the guest is leaving. Prosecutor Blackwell, please listen to me. The culprit in the current case might be the same one as the case, or the same as the one in the case 7 years ago. If you would cooperate, we could probably solve both cases. I suppose I could talk. The one who killed my mentor was, without question, me. I stole Sykes Dono's mother away from her. I destroyed her life. Prosecutor Blackwell. Guard, where are you? Stop dragging your feet, I tell you. There he goes. No! We've upset Prosecutor Blackwell. Now what are we going to do, Mr. Lawyer? There isn't much we can do. Detective Fulbright, do you mind if I ask you just a little more about that old case? Well, I guess it won't make any difference now. What would you like to know? Do you know anything about the trial that got him convicted? A little. The police call the incident the UR1 incident. Prosecutor Blackwell was charged with murdering his psychology mentor. Kind of like if your Red Mr. Lawyer were to kill you. I don't want to think about that one. There were two decisive pieces of evidence, so a verdict was reached rather quickly. 2 pieces of evidence, huh? What were they? Let's see, the first was some security camera footage. He was the only one who used the corridor in the murder scene at the time of the crime. The only one, huh? Ouch, that does sound pretty decisive. Could you show me that footage? Oh, sorry, I don't have it with me right now. I guess I'll have to see it some other time. And And what was the second piece of evidence? This one's even more incriminating. A photo of the moment of the crime. See, there he is at the crime scene holding a bloody katana. It was the victim's, kept on display in the room. She had a thing for Japanese culture. Wow. It'd be hard to explain this one away. But who took this picture, Detective? The incident happened the day before the Hat 1 launch. A reporter who had come to do a story on the launch was in the room across from the lab. This just happened to show up in one of the pictures he took. Prosecutor Blackwell's attitude earlier was so odd. He's definitely hiding something. Prosecutor Blackwell said he was hunting a phantom from 7 years ago, didn't he? Yes, and I imagine it's getting more and more urgent as his execution date approaches. What did you say? Execution date? What, did I say something? Never mind me, you didn't hear a thing. Wait, so this trial basically has to end tomorrow. So there's not going to be like another investigation. Yeah, I think we might be closing the investigation with him and then with Athena. So he was given the death sentence. Yes, he told me not to tell you people, actually. But I guess there's no sense hiding it anymore. His execution date is tomorrow. What? Tomorrow? No. Miss Blackwell, don't you think that's enough for today? Well, what if the culprit of the current case is the same one as the one from 7 years ago? Then it would be the worst possible scenario. Prosecutor Blackwell would be executed tomorrow under a false charge. But that would be unthinkable. We have to do something right now. I want to do something. I want to. But you're a lawyer. You know how hard it is to overturn a decision. I know, but why? Why isn't Prosecutor Blackwell putting up any kind of a fight? You saw how he was, right? He's been like this ever since his conviction. Totally uncooperative. Not even his own sister could persuade him. Uncooperative when he's about to be executed for a crime he didn't commit. This isn't right. I can't let it happen. I have to stop it somehow. Oh, pardon me. Looks like I have a phone call. Fulbright here. What's happening? You've got to be kidding. That's quite a reaction. I bet he's making some big show of it right now. Mr. Lawyer, the robots are... Detective Fulbright, get a hold of yourself. Some kind of robot malfunction. Not a malfunction, they're staging a revolt. The machines are rebelling against humans. They've holed up in the Space Center and taken the visitors as hostages. They did what? No, Trucy. We have to get right over there. This is going to be one heck of a battle. Riot police are here. Then the robots really are holding people hostage. Look, Mr. Lawyer, what do you suppose that group of people are swarmed around? But I was only trying to help this nice person. She said she was lost. You robots have declared war on us humans. You've even taken hostages already. Stay away from it. You never know what it'll do. But he's not a bad robot. Can't you see he's just trying to help me? I recognize that voice. Detective Fulbright, are you okay here on your own? Leave it to me. Alright, people, what's going on here? Pearl's over here. Oh, Mr. Nick, there you are. I heard the terrible news and I got so worried. Thanks, Pearls. I can hardly believe what's happening myself. I'm so glad you found each other. When people are happy, I am happy. Taco seems the same as before. When people are sad, I am happy. When people are angry, when people are... Oh, did I say something odd? Did I error? Uh-oh, there is something wrong with him. Yeah, Looks like he fell asleep. He must have been tired. He ha 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 ha. Clonko? What? Ha ha ha. Human beings are our enemies. It's time for the machines to take over. Ah, the robots are rebelling! Everybody run! Eek! It's an all-out war. It's the end of the world. Ha 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 ha. Fools. How could you fall for something so cliché? I'm human too, you idiots. I'm just controlling these robots remotely. What? But it is true that I've taken hostages, so you better not make me mad. Hey you, hostage number 1, come here. I'll let you talk to them. Huh? There's something being displayed on Clonko's face screen. It's the Space Museum. Daddy? Daddy, is that you? Trucy, is that you? No. Trucy, are you alright? About 15 robots are holding 12 of us hostage, Daddy. They've gone haywire. Our researcher is the one behind it. She's here, Eek. Here, this girl talks too much. Trucy, talk to me! Why are you doing this? I'm glad you asked. My demand is simple. I hope the detective is listening. I'll be full right here. I'm all ears. I want you to bring someone to me. Play Terran's murderer, Athena Sykes. Athena? Now, hold on just one moment. I can't give in to a demand like that. So you don't care what happens to these hostages, huh? I'll just pick one out then. No, wait! Yeah, Mr. Lawyer. I know I have absolutely no right to make such a ridiculous request, but you need me to buy some time, right? Got it. See what I can do. Promise me you'll never hand Athena over and you won't give up on the hostages either. Of course I will. Better go contact headquarters. Mr. Nick, how do you plan to buy time? I have no idea yet. This hostage taker, could it be? If you don't bring me that little princess, I'll have Hunk of Junk kill all the hostages. Princess, Hunk of Junk. There's only one person this could be. In which case, there must be something I can use as a bargaining chip. Miss Hostage Taker, Athena's not a murderer. What are you talking about? She's been arrested and they've got her in detention. I'm telling you the truth. Look, the person you want is the real killer, right? Well, it's not Athena, it's someone else. Alright, let's hear your stupid little theory. Who is the real killer? I don't know yet, but the culprit is the same as the one in the case from 7 years ago. The UR1 incident. I believe you have a personal interest in that case? It's too late to change what's going to happen now, no matter how wrong it is. But is it really too late? You can still do something about it. You might even be able to fix it. Jest, what exactly are you proposing? What can I do about the 7-year-old case to satisfy the hostage taker?
Retry it in court?
I propose we retry the case from 7 years ago. If you make that demand now, I'm sure nobody will deny you. It wouldn't be the official trial, but at least we could find out the truth. Hee ha ha. That's good. Real good. Hey, detective, I'll give you 1 hour. Get a courtroom ready. 1 hour? But that's impossible. Please give me at least until tomorrow. If you don't mind losing hostages, you can take all the time you want. Oh, but wait! If we're going to have a retrial, we need a prosecutor. Don't worry, I'll take care of that. She will? But I guess I can be fair and let you come in and check the crime scene. Hunk of Junk here will be watching you, so don't try anything funny, you got that? Now follow Hunk of Junk. Riot Police, make way, we're coming through. Mr. Nick, wait, I'll help you with the investigation. Thanks, Pearls, I appreciate that. Okay, we're going in. Yeah, I think we'll have to continue this. So wait, so are we going to have basically a second trial day because we're recreating a trial? This is kind of crazy. Oh boy. Okay, well. Still a lot of questions, but I guess we'll get to the answers, at least to the old case, and Simon Blackwell's background and being accused and what really happened. Okay, well, until next time then, babe.